Hey you guys, today I'm coming to you with another great video. I'm going to show you the incorrect way and the correct way to use silicone molds, especially to achieve the Lego block look. This is a cake that I did recently for a 7th birthday, and I experienced some trial and error in achieving this look. So today I'm going to show you guys how to do this without having too many issues. So first we need some supplies. We have a 10-inch cake board, Wilton Candy Melts, color bright white. We have a silicone mold here, and this is the Celebrate It brand from Michaels. We also have our disposable decorating bags, a bowl. We're also going to need a spoon, and also some solid white vegetable shortening. Here I have my Crisco. Now to get started, what I did is I went ahead and placed the white candy melts into a microwave safe bowl. I've melted it down per the instructions on the packaging. Here you see it's nice and completely melted, except for it is really thick. That was mistake number one. From here, what I did is went ahead and used my disposable decorating bags, place the candy melt into the bag. I find that you have a lot more control by doing this, so I would definitely recommend placing your candy melt into a bag before you fill the cavities of your silicone mold. So from here, what I'm going to do is take a pair of scissors and clip the very end of the decorating bag to make a small opening from which to squeeze the candy melt into the silicone mold cavities. So here you see the brick style silicone mold here from Celebrate It. We're going to start filling the cavities. So here you'll see me make another mistake, and that is squeezing the candy melt into the cavity and filling it up completely the first time around. You'll see that the candy melt is still really thick, and that poses an issue for us later on, as you'll see. You'll also notice that the candy melt is not really relaxing into the candy melt that's underneath it in the cavity. Again, way too thick. At this point, I am tapping my silicone mold onto the surface simply to flatten out the candy melt that is at the very top. At this point, I place the silicone mold while it is still on the cake board into the refrigerator so that the candy melt can set up. Once the candy melt is set up, we are going to start to remove the block from the mold. So what we're going to do at this point is melt down green candy melt, and I've added about a tablespoon of shortening to the mix. You'll see here when I pour it, it's quite pourable, not nearly as thick as the white candy melt we used previously. So that's tip number one. Definitely make sure that your candy melt is thinned out. You can thin it out again with a little bit of solid white vegetable shortening, or what's called Paramount Crystal. So at this point, I'm just pouring the candy melt into my bag. Again, it's a very nice consistency to work with, nice and thin. And from here, I'm going to start to fill my cavities. Now, my technique for filling the cavity is much different from the technique that we used with the white candy melt. So again, I'm clipping the end of my decorating bag. What I'm going to do now is I'm only going to fill the cavity halfway. Only halfway. Very important tip in making sure we really get all those air bubbles out. At this point, I'm going to start to tap the mold on the surface while it is on the cake board. and you'll start to see small air bubbles come up. So I continue to tap. Again, the candy melts nice and thin and loose, so it's a lot easier for the air bubbles to get out of the mold. So from here, I'm going to continue to fill the other molds about halfway, the other cavities about halfway. And I'm going to stop. And again, while the cavities are only filled halfway, I'm going to tap on the surface while the silicone mold itself is on the cake board. Tapping, tapping. Again, you can see those air bubbles right there on the top, and that's what we want. We want all those air bubbles to come to the top of the cavity. So at this point, I've filled the remainder of the cavity, and I am going to repeat the same process and place the silicone mold while it's still on the cake board into the refrigerator to set up about 10 to 15 minutes or so. Once the candy melt has set up, again, I can easily release the bricks from the mold. And you can see the buttons on the very end of the bricks are completely formed this time around. They look fantastic. What a difference, what a difference. So here you can see the difference between the bricks and how doing a few different things really makes a huge impact on how the bricks look. Again, we made sure that the candy melt was thinned out. We also filled the cavities halfway and shook out all of the air bubbles before filling the cavities completely. Thanks for tuning in, you guys.